I'm Clayton Campbell. I'm a visual artist. I live in Los Angeles. This project that I'm working on is made possible by a grant from the City of Los Angeles Department of Cultural Affairs. I'm very pleased that they were supporting this project. Since 2005, I've been working on what is an important public project entitled Words We Have Learned Since 9/11. The Words Project is a site-specific installation of photographic portraits, and it establishes an important intercultural dialogue between very diverse populations and about cultural differences and how people view their future. Originally, this project was a direct response to 9/11, but as time gone by, 10 years out, it's really become much more. The way I do this project is simple and includes anyone who wishes to be part of the Words Project. A participant will sit down with me in privacy, and I ask them two questions. First, what new words have they learned since 9/11? And then second, what words did they know that have taken on a different meaning? Each question leads to a very different kind of conversation, and finally it circles back around to a singular word. Sometimes we have a long discussion, or sometimes it's short, but the participants say whatever they need to communicate, and they are words of the participants solely. None of them are mine. They're then invited to have their portraits photographed while holding a sign with the words that they feel they've learned since 9/11. These portraits are added to the collection that is evolving and expanding, and as each exhibit continues to build a bridge of diversity between international communities, the number of portraits keep growing as more and more people participate. To date, I have 1,300 portraits in the exhibition, and there is really no end in sight. People view September 11th, 2001 as the first major iconic event of the 21st century that everyone has heard about. There have been incalculable and unforeseen social, religious, political, and military responses still rippling through region after region as a direct or indirect response to 9/11, and it has really changed our worldview. The Words Project continues to be important because it's about everything that has happened since 9/11, how people view their future, what they feel, what they've learned, and what is happening to them right now. The Words Project, I think, has become a visual legacy for the first 2 decades of the 21st century. In most exhibitions, participants were people who walked into the exhibit, and it was sort of random but interesting because of that. Or I photographed special groups, such as the 135 first responders in Mobile, Alabama, on the 10th anniversary of 9/11. There is an educational value to this project, and I've photographed numerous school groups. The teachers incorporate into their classroom curriculum words we've learned since 9/11 as a special project. Many of the students were either very young on 9/11 or had not even been born, so in effect, this is the second generation after 9/11. The kids express simple but powerful words about their future, and what got my interest was how issues of security or fear due to lack of security kept coming up. In Los Angeles, security has been a particular concern because of threats made against the Port of Los Angeles and Universal City. Real or imagined, these threats invoke the use of the Homeland Security Act to establish without citizen review new security controls at the Los Angeles airports, screening of shipping in the port, and at many sites such as courthouses and public buildings. Public information that previously had been available has been redefined as classified, in effect withdrawing from public scrutiny many government documents that would allow citizens to remain informed about legitimate security issues. Are these measures justified, and how do they affect the average citizen? Words We've Learned Since 9/11 is the best vehicle for me to focus on questions about the theme of public and private security that have taken on a heightened focus worldwide since 9/11.
Many of the responses have referred to issues of freedom, a fear of violence, Osama bin Laden, our barbaric nature, everything going too fast to understand, the wreckage of culture, the effect of sanctions on ordinary people, military decisions, a call for human decency, and then the ambivalence of security, how security makes people feel either safer or more anxious. This is why I want to delve more deeply into this area of the project.
I want to give you an idea of where this project has been and how many kinds of people have been involved based on the locations it's been shown at. So to date, Words We Have Learned Since 9/11 has been exhibited at the Namjoon Pike Museum in South Korea, the Higher Bridges Art Centre in Northern Ireland, Unit 24 Gallery in London, the Maison Européenne de la Photographie, Paris, the New Media Center in Kurdistan and the Iran Gallery in Tehran, the WISPA Institute for Contemporary Art in Gdansk, a national tour of museums in Croatia in the cities of Zagreb, Zadar, Split, and Dubrovnik, the International Center of Contemporary Art, Bucharest, the Three Shadows Photography Art Center in Beijing, the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, the Museum of Mobile, Alabama, the Barrick Museum of Art at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, the Exploratorium in San Francisco, the Wonder Institute of Santa Fe, and now the Camac Center, Marnay-sur-Seine, France. I wanted to look at this in a specific community and see if the people there are concerned and thinking about their personal and public security. During the CEI grant period, I interviewed, videotaped, and photographed portraits of the citizens in a French town who live adjacent a major nuclear power plant. And so I took the Words project to the small and beautiful and ancient village of Marnay-sur-Seine in France to investigate how issues of security might be reshaping behavioral patterns in a small, tightly knit community.
Let me ask you a totally another question, but it's related. Camac Center is a center for art and inquiry. What is the role of the artist or the responsibility of the artist now in light of all of these different discussions, world issues? Should artists be addressing them in their work? Or are places like Camac sort of retreats that are centers of intelligence that we try to conserve in the face of kind of a really widespread aggression? Does that question make sense? Should artists be socially responsible, or should they, in a positive way, kind of go into retreats and really work closely on things that are worth saving?
I think that artists are responsible, and Camac as an art center open to the public, and we have to show in arts, or we are not here just to show beautiful things to the people. They have to be aware of many things, and they have to be open-minded and give them many opinions. So I think that for an art center like Camac, we have to show a way of understanding between people, and I think that is the most important to avoid war or to be angry at each other.
Marnay-sur-Seine is in the Champagne-Ardenne region, southeast of Paris, and beautiful countryside. It's near the city of Troyes, where Jeanne d'Arc stopped to pray, and the cathedral, which is still standing. The area is dotted with very small towns over 1,000 years old. It's very picturesque, and it has a very long history of families living there. I asked some of the residents in Marnay what had been the most dramatic event they could remember, and the response was when the Cossacks came through in 1814 and burned part of the village. But the next event was 30 years ago, when a massive nuclear power plant was built in the next town of Nogent-sur-Seine, intentionally placed on the Seine River to cool the power plant. From Nogent, the Seine flows north and empties into Paris. Any accident would be catastrophic for anyone living adjacent to the Seine and has the potential to devastate the environment all the way to Paris.
My name is Mathilde Rousseau-Domecq.
How long have you lived in Marnay-sur-Seine? Your family?
This family or the whole family?
The whole family.
The whole family has been living in Marnay for about maybe at least a century. We're 2014? No, 13. Yeah. So I would say at least, maybe more than a century now. So my brother and I are the fourth generation living here.
And you were telling me that there are other families that have been here longer. And how long?
Like for example, Nini's family, Annie Lefebvre. I think her family has been here since the French Revolution.
Oh my gosh! So, so when Marnay was founded, in which century? The 11th, 10th century?
Well, tricky question. Marnay has been here for 1,000 years, maybe more than that.
Right.
Yeah, but Marnay, as it is now, has its own charter signed by King of France, first King of France, Charles Le Chauve, and it's about the year 800, between 800 and 900, something like that. So it's more than 1,000 years old, the village as it is now.
So, for all of this time, has there ever been anything that's come into the region as dramatic as the nuclear power plant next door in Nogent-sur-Seine?
The Cossacks?
The Cossacks? When was that? Okay, so that was a disaster. Right.
The Cossacks in chasing Napoleon out of Russia.
Okay, all right.
In 1814.
And they came right through this area.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
They burned the part of the house here.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. We've been talking, and I've been talking with a number of people, including your family, about issues of security, particularly since 9/11. And I've been asking about people, or what words have they learned. I thought it was very interesting that when you and I were driving in the car last week by the nuclear power plant, we were stopped by their security.
Yes.
Tell me, or people looking at this videotape, exactly what happened.
Well, at first we were entering the site, and the nuclear site. Well, actually we didn't enter the site. We only stayed on the public road.
Correct,
the public road passes by, and the policemen, when they saw us, told us that. Anyway, and I was wondering whether they would come or not. And, well, luckily they did. They did show up. And so they asked her to... Well, we had already pulled over for you to take a few pictures.
Right.
They asked for a driving license and the papers of the car. And no, they've been quite nice. It took us a very long time to keep the paper, and then the other guy went over the telephone because he told us the whole site is stuffed with the cameras, and so right from the very beginning they saw us entering and stopping once, twice, and then at the first stop at the very, very bottom of the big towers, then they came over. And so they told us since what happened in a year or two ago with the Greenpeace coming. Now they have really, so they say, secured the area,
Right.
putting cameras around.
So basically they were doing their job, which is a good thing.
Yes, but funny that, we've been chatting, shooting pictures from a distance, close. It took us 20 minutes before, or at least 15 minutes before we saw them, right?
That's true. In that amount of time, if someone wanted to do something really bad to the reactor, they probably could succeed in doing it. So, do you feel any more secure about any of this?
No, well, if I'm feeling, how could I put it? I'm being very pragmatic, and if you ask me, of course, I could say, why not anyone coming and throw a bomb at it, and it looks like it's easy. Maybe we are mistaken, hopefully we are, but it looks like it's easy to do. You get 20 minutes standing there before someone comes, and no one searching in the car for anything. Well, but on the other way, I'm here in this old charming little village, very dear to our family and to the people who come. And we like being here. We like living here, and I wouldn't say that I don't care. Of course I do care, but it's just we are talking. Crazy things happen everywhere, so it doesn't. I can sleep at night.
Right.
No problem.
In 2011, to bring the lack of safety to the attention of the French people, Greenpeace mounted a series of actions at the Nogent-sur-Seine nuclear power plant, showing through intentional security breaches that the facility is vulnerable to terrorist attack. The Greenpeace activists moved unmolested onto the grounds of the nuclear plant, climbed the cooling towers, where they unfurled a banner saying, "This place is not safe." And at that point, after about 25 minutes, they were noticed and arrested. The main point, which escaped no one, was that any terrorist wishing to plant a bomb at the plant could easily do so, creating enormous destruction and havoc. And this became a national debate.
Ce matin, à 6 heures, plusieurs militants de Greenpeace ont pénétré à l'intérieur de la centrale nucléaire de Nogent. Ils ont passé en 15 minutes les caméras de détection et les alarmes D qui sont là, on remplace. Ce matin, à 6 heures, plusieurs militants.
What's your opinion of what happened with the Greenpeace demonstration at the nuclear power plant at Nogent-sur-Seine?
Well, for me, they just, I don't think that they were really a threat for the power plant, because when I don't know, but normally, it's well protected, and what they could do is they could climb on the tower, I think, and maybe they could climb more. They could climb on the rooftop of the reactor building. So I think it's something that it shows that too much security doesn't avoid anything.
Yeah.
Because even if, for example, we've got some artists at Kamak, and they, I would say like almost a tourist, they just want to take a pictures of the power plants from the road, and they are surrounded by 10 policemen, and some of the artists at Kamak, they were taken to the police station, and they were asked for the ID, and they had so many questions, and of course all those artists, or even me or French people, when you want to take pictures or just walk around the nuclear power plant, when you see those policemen, you don't feel secure. And when I see policemen, I don't feel secure, security like that. And so you've got the feeling that there's security and police everywhere in the place, and it shows that like two guys with just a ladder could climb and could go inside the power plant, and they could eventually put a bomb on, like a simple bomb, but they could affect the security of the power plant very easily.
Yes.
So what's the meaning, what's the point of all of that?
Je travaillais au laboratoire de la centrale nucléaire. Et puis ensuite, je me suis activité syndicale et représentative au sein du comité d'hygiène, de sécurité et des conditions de travail, dont j'ai occupé le poste de secrétaire pendant 23 ans.
All right, so at first, Pascal used to work in the laboratory of the nuclear power plant, and then he started working with the, do you say syndicate?
The union?
Yeah, the union, this is it. And he's being es-tu le secrétaire?
Du comité d'hygiène et de sécurité pendant 23 ans.
Oh, and for 23 years he has been the secretary of the hygiene committee or group.
What is the hygiene group? What does that mean?
The committee works towards applicating the rules and the laws about security, about hygiene in the nuclear power plant, and also trying to prevent and improve the working conditions.
Okay. After 9/11, was there a change in the attitude of the workers at the plant?
Est-ce que tu as senti qu'après le 11 septembre, il y a eu chez les travailleurs à la centrale, est-ce que tu as senti un changement dans l'attitude, quelque chose qui se...
Oui, mais pas forcément avec l'attentat.
So what Pascal says is, after September 11th, you could feel that, for example, there were different employees, and among those employees there were people who were from Northern Africa as origins, or also Islamic people. And so what he says is, then started some, looking them funny or just,
Right.
having an awkward attitude.
You can feel the fear and people coming at the fertilizer. There's many people every day, and you say, if they have done this in New York, why not in Paris, in the Eiffel Tower?
Right.
It was not very
Scary.
yes,
Frightening.
very scary.
Yeah. So, did the French begin to look differently at people who were here in France who were immigrants?
Yes.
How so? Well, how did they look at them differently?
When they are a little bit too much,
A beard.
And there's a woman with a chador and
Right.
everything. We don't really like that because every time you think about that or about what happens, and it's very an impact of their religion. You see, they show you that they are very extremist, in fact.
Right. Now,
And many in France, and my parents have a flat in Morocco, in Marrakesh, and they saw many more women with chador than before, and they have friends from Morocco that said the same things. And in France too, we see more women with a chador than before.
We from Paris, both of us, and found a little place nearby. And we did think that it was dangerous to live near a nuclear plant. But then we realized that if it exploded, whether here or 100 kilometers away in Paris, we would be blown away exactly in the same way. So no reason for fearing it much more, for fearing it.
On souffre à moins ici que...
That's right. Say it in English.
Non, vas-y.
yeah.
We won't suffer.
Merci.
We'll suffer less here because it will be more
Right.
sudden. We'll die fast than if we were further away.
Okay.
That's a security.
Well,
Not to suffer and die
is.
fast.
It is.
Passe les capacités des entreprises. Quoi.
Donc par exemple, tu penses
À la sous-traitance,
Voilà, exactement.
la cascade sous-traitance.
Oui, c'est ça. Ce point avait déjà été pointé du doigt il y a quelques temps, je me souviens.
C'est le vrai non. Pour moi, c'est le vrai non.
Oui. So Pascal feels like the problem doesn't only come from security and what can come from outside, but the real problem to him, working inside the nuclear plant for many years, the problem comes from inside and about people hiring people who come working and do mechanical changes, little things.
So do you mean that the inside of the plant, the actual structure and the components of the nuclear material and fission, these are not safe?
No,
because
about
the workers...
the workers, I don't think...
the workers are not competent?
Well, it's again, those about people hiring people. It's the big responsibilities, or each time
Right.
goes less. You see what I mean?
And does that mean that as the responsibility goes less, the skill of those people to work becomes less? So
the skills, the competence, and that's why accidents happen.
Information aussi.
And about information, they are not informed as they should be.
So they thought more about the nuclear power plant. Are they worried that there's some problem?
Yes, because we heard about things that happen sometimes at Nogent-sur-Seine. So I think people are a little fear about that.
What kind of things do they hear about?
I don't know how to say it in English. The infiltration in the ground floor.
Oh, so the water going into the ground?
Yes, and security. You see, the people can come in the
like terrorists can come in and...
I think.
Yeah.
Everything is possible because simply people and Greenpeace can come in. So why not terrorists with a big way can do many things in, and there is many people in the part of the east of France with nuclear problem with Chernobyl a few years ago, and in France they said the clouds just stop at the frontier with Allemagne.
This is not true.
No. And many people have problem with the thyroid here.
Right. Even here too?
Yes, me too. And a few of my friends, and because I think it's not just now with Nogent-sur-Seine, but all that passed around there a few years ago. I think there is this problem with that.
Do you have to take medicine for your... Yes.
Just one month ago, I went to my doctor and he said, you have a problem with your thyroid. Yeah.
So that is that would make you feel less secure, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yes.
So, and I have children, so
you worry about them.
to go away from here one day because we don't know really. They can tell you what they want.
When you think of issues of security or words you've learned since 9/11, what comes to mind? Marie, what do you think?
I think in this house they don't bother at all about security. The other night when there was this Kamak event, I knocked in to see if they'd gone already or not. But the house was open, no one here, no one on there. And I called and no one answered, and I could have gone anywhere and taken anything.
Did you?
I didn't.
When you went near the nuclear power plant the other day, immediately you were arrested.
We were
right?
stopped, yes.
C'est ça, you were stopped by the police, c'est ça. Donc it's this idea, if you have some very dangerous technology, immediately you must have what they call safety, but actually it's a way of, putting guards everywhere and locking you up in a way.
So it's a form of control.
So this slogan was Société nucléaire, société policière.
So the first word I learned early on after 9/11 was Homeland Security.
Ah oui.
We'd not heard this before, but this was a euphemism for passing laws that made it very restrictive for the free flow of information and for access to any government information that had been free to the public, but now was classified, and you could not see it. And much of it made no sense whatsoever. But it was just sort of this blanket policies based on fear.
What's the law? It's called
It's called Homeland Security.
No, but there is under Bush
Patriot Act. Yes.
Act.
So this caused a great deal of uproar in the United States. Yeah, in the end, most people accepted it, that they would give up some of their civil liberties if they felt more secure.
Regarde en Amérique.
It might have been an illusion,
Il y a
but
plein de
that's
centrales
exactly
nucléaires
what
en
happened.
Amérique. Qu'est-ce qu'ils ont visé?
I don't think Muslims
les tours jumelles. C'est des
No.
symboliques, c'est pas des.
No, I don't
des
think so
centrales
either.
nucléaires.
But did something like
C'est comme
this
si
happen
c'était
in France?
l'Élysée ou la Tour Eiffel.
Oui.
Is there something similar in France, a
Oui,
kind
je
of
sais pas pourquoi.
Patriot Act or
C'est parce que
something
c'est plus
like
symbolique
that?
pour eux.
Well, oui.
Ça leur, c'est pas. Nous, ça nous fait plus peur.
Maintenant, tu
Ils
penses
demandent
que c'est
si en
symbolique.
France
Mais
on
s'il
a
avait fait sur une centrale nucléaire,
le même sentiment, les gens ont le
Les
même
seuls qui ont attaqué
sentiment
une centrale nucléaire, c'est
s'il
les
y a un gros
Israéliens.
danger et que
ils ont
le gouvernement devient
en construction.
plus
Elle n'était
police.
pas
Oui, oui,
encore
mais-
en activité.
oui, mais
C'est
quand même, il y avait-
acceptable parce que ça peut
Okay,
Et bien,
so
What comes across my mind is, I would say, madness for first thing. Madness and extremism. Would you say it in English?
Right.
Extremism.
extremism.
Fanatisme.
Fanatism. But fanatism has more religious connotation.
It is.
And extremism can also be related to many things, and not only religious matters. But yeah, madness, and it's madness not only about September 11th, but about many things happening that happened during the 20th century and even before that.
Right.
But it's one of the words that comes back, and that is, really important, because, it is mad. What happened is completely mad, and today the consequences of all that and the way that things are going on and we are still in the middle of all that, in that very huge madness about how to run the world.
Do you see the flip side of madness, which might be something more beautiful, or is it hard to see that given this time?
I think so. I try to think of nice things, try to think of the beauty of nature. But then it catches me up again, about the madness that is happening against nature, against all of this. So it's hard to see. When I came back, I just heard my mother talking about being optimistic or pessimistic. And so it's also, I don't see how keeping going on that path, how can we find a great end?
So, down at the end of the table,
Quel blabla.
words.
Daniel.
What new words have you learned since 9/11? Or
No, not any, because 9/11 was not the same for Europeans and Americans. Americans were convinced of their own security because they never have, since a very long time, war on their territory.
Oui, je comprends.
But Europeans, we always have war in Europe. For example, in Yugoslavia, and between France and Germany and England, and we are used to the war, and we never have any security feeling in Europe. Never. So it was a big shock for American people, of course, we understand, but not for us. We are very worried because of the crisis, economic crisis, and also and the consequences of this crisis on the unemployment of people, which is very high in Europe, especially in southern Europe, France, Italy, Spain, and Greece. And the crisis is very heavy for us, very worrying, and also because of the proximity of the Arabic countries. France is an Arabic country. Now we have 1 million Arabic people in France, which is not the Muslims, yes, but from Arabic origin. They are French now, but we are French are close to the Muslim people. In the society there are many Muslim people, so we are afraid of what is going, of the big comment ça devient between the Arab people and the Jewish people, and on the Arab transformation of the Arabic countries, etc.
So is a word then that you might talk about that's taken on a new meaning would be just the word fear. Is this fear that you're describing something new in the last 5-6 years?
Not really fear, but I don't know what will happen, and I don't know what will happen in the future. I have no certitude, Comment on dit certitude?
So, no certitude is a very interesting way of... A lot of people in this project are trying to see their future, and it's very unclear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Voilà. À partir du moment où dans un pays, certains stigmatisent les différences, il y a lieu de tout craindre, collectivement comme individuellement.
So Pascal feels like his own security depends on the environment. He feels like it directly depends on education, for instance, and his security also depends on whether in a more general environment, like for example, let's talk about France, like knowing that around him the people are happier or healthier or getting, to get education and stuff, they would feel more comfortable, more at ease, and from that goes goes the question about how people feel their own security and whether they feel comfortable or not. So it's not it's not a problem of about how he feels, but about how people are around, so that he can feel.
If you had any other words from any area of your life that you've learned since 9/11, could be from pop culture, could be from your kids, it could be from any part of your life.
Love.
Love. And why love?
With my children.
That's the greatest love, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Our partners, our husbands, our wives, but our children, yeah.
It's the best one.
Okay.
I wish people would demonstrate and go on the street for those reasons and for security, environmental reason, this is what concerns me most. Having to, we had this fight a few years ago about a fuel plant wanting to settle close to Mornay.
Oh, really?
Luckily, we got that fight.
So it can work.
Yes, it can. So that's why, and at the beginning we were talking to people saying, all right, do you want to join us on that fight? And people from Mornay, people everywhere around the villages went, why do you do that? You perfectly know that if they have decided it will happen, why do you do that? And so this is the perfect example for those people and everyone who doubt that there's nothing to do. There is something to do, and it's just about the people who have to decide what they really want.
So you were able to change people's minds and they protested against this fuel plant?
Well, it's a bunch of people, and some came also joining the cause. But yeah, this project, it didn't happen.
Because we're talking about artists and creativity and their responsibility. For you personally, how did you become a director of a center where you spend all of your time supporting artists so they can make their projects? What is the thing that drives you, that keeps you involved in this?
Hope, I think. So we fight every day to stay alive, and I want to show that this kind of art center showing strange works for people, but I think that they loved it, and they still love it, and I want to show them that we can be a new beginning for the village, and so I would like to have many people coming from the region, from everywhere, from France and other countries, just to be here. I think that we show the right way to be, and when I see all the politicians around the world, or in France, United States, or everywhere, I don't think that I think that they should come to Camac to learn something about human being and where we should go. I think it's easy what we could do to make people happy and to make, even just to make the economy better.
I've been able so far to give you a brief picture of one town and its citizens who've had to confront many new issues and trials since 9/11. They've been going through a reappraisal of the nearby nuclear power plant, asking themselves whether it is dangerous to their health and their overall security. They acknowledge that after 9/11 they began to profile their neighbors and colleagues who were Muslim or of Arabic origin, and they still feel uncertain about it. They were vocalizing their deeper thoughts about the immediate future of the world and how it is not secure from the madness of human actions by either creating unimaginable warfare or degrading the planet so quickly it cannot recover. And finally, they found hope in how artists can make a difference and therefore not to give up. My time ended after 1 month of living amongst and speaking with the people of Marnay-sur-Seine, but as I was leaving, Madame Domecq gave me a DVD of an animated video she had made over 30 years ago. It had only been seen once or twice at the local screenings in the Marnay-sur-Seine township, and so I think it appropriate, with her permission, and it is my honor, to end this video by presenting the world premiere of Lillian and Nicole Domecq's animated film, Two Towers Turn and Fly Away.
La 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 no, la 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 no.
This project is made possible in part by a grant from the City of Los Angeles Department of Cultural Affairs. I would also like to acknowledge the support of Jay Rowe, Senior Vice President of Production for HBO, and Christy Caitlin with HBO Television's Office of Corporate Social Responsibility, and for their financial support. I wish to thank Mathilde Domecq and her family and friends for their support and generosity, and the Kamak Center and its director, Jean-Yves Coffry, for their financial aid, technical and moral support. And above all, I wish to thank my collaborator, Max Weiner, whose editing, ideas, and support have been fantastic.